Hey, I'm your host, Dr. Desiree Cassell. I'm an orthopedic and pelvic floor physical therapist specializing in women's health, aka pelvic floor. I'm a wife, mom of 3, foodie, lover of all things movement and nature, and I'm super passionate about educating, empowering, and supporting other women like you to find and maintain balance throughout all aspects of their lives, without pain, pressure, or peeing their pants. And this is the Balanced Momtality Podcast, where we will talk about all things pelvic floor, your core, and optimizing your pregnancy, birth, and postpartum recovery, providing you with the knowledge and tools so that you can feel like the strong, playful, and happy mom that you and your family deserve. Now let's get you out of those pads and back to loving movement. Fill up your water, pop in those AirPods, roll out your mat, and let's connect. Before we start today's episode, just a quick disclaimer that anything mentioned in this podcast is not meant to treat or diagnose any medical conditions. If you have any questions or concerns about your healthcare needs, please seek the care of your medical provider. This is also a safe space where we will be talking about very sensitive but important topics, such as issues with peeing and pooping, relationships, and even sex. So if you have littles around, probably a good idea to pop those AirPods in. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hey girl, so happy to have you this week. I hope you caught Monday's episode. It was a fun one. We got to talk about what fun and easy pelvic floor exercises and healing strategies you can do from your couch or your bed or your chair or anywhere you're just hanging out. And I know we all want those micro habits, those little micro exercise snacks that we can just fit in when we're just chilling and still feel productive. So make sure you go check that one out and share it with your friends, because we all need these extra little moments of intention in our day. We think it all needs to be the sweaty exercises, all the thousands of steps, pounds you're lifting throughout the day, but really just coming into your body and reconnecting, being intentional and softening the system, and also getting in some good stability and strength work all on the couch can be where we move the needle. So go check it out. But I'm excited to switch gears a little bit today. We've done a lot of pelvic floor episodes and various capacities, which obviously that is my main content. That is my main form of genius. That is what I love to chat about. But the other thing I love to chat about is food. If you didn't know, I do have my bachelor's in nutrition and dietetics. So I do go into nutrition a lot more than I would most typical PTs do. I have more education in nutrition than most medical doctors do. And with that being said, in my Restore program, there is a bonus module with a 30+ page nutrition guide and a 6-week exercise plan, both for vegan and vegetarian option and meat eaters. So I give you the plan. We lay it all out, and there is less guesswork you have to do. So just know that those tools are out there. And if you have more questions, definitely reach out. My contact information is in the show notes below. But today we're going to talk about one of the most important aspects of our nutrition that a lot of us women are just completely sabotaging. Because really, breakfast, as we most have heard, right, is the most important meal of the day. But if you're anything like I used to be, and this was even before kids, like I remember being in high school, and unfortunately my daughter's doing this right now, and I've had to have a lot of like, okay, you were once there, try and remember that, and don't force her to eat, but also like she's not doing herself any favors. Anyways, it's a whole thing because we do want to listen to our body. And I do remember being in high school and not being hungry first thing in the morning. I just wasn't. It just didn't sound good. I remember racing off to school, my mom trying to force me to eat. I didn't. But then come 9 or 10 o'clock, I'd be sitting in class crashing and I felt like shit. And I would pull out my lunch and I would eat my lunch at 9 or 10. Then lunchtime would come around. I would be starving again and have no more food to eat. Thankfully, my friends were all birds, so they barely snacked on their food, and I got coined the nickname the trash can because I would just eat all of their food. I was super active, and fueling was always a priority. Food has always been one of my love languages, and I am here to just try and revamp your guys's excitement around breakfast, because it can be boring. And even if you want to eat breakfast, you're like, well, I actually wake up starving and I wish I could eat, but I'm so freaking busy in the mornings with kids, and maybe you're feeding or feeding a baby, and maybe you also didn't sleep very well, so you're exhausted, right? And the last thing you think about is fueling yourself. So maybe your breakfast is the leftover oatmeal your kids didn't eat, or the crust off their peanut butter and jellies when you're making their lunches that day, right? I have been there. It might even just be the cup of coffee. Like, I have gone through these different phases in my life where once I went through nutrition school and learned really like, okay, no, I do need to prioritize breakfast, I was able to rewire my own internal clock. And that's really it, right? Like, I didn't realize my clock was off when I was younger and I wasn't hungry in the mornings, but I've gotten it so consistent. My internal clock now is so consistent with my circadian rhythm, my digestion, my food and hormones, right? Like, everything has gotten really predictable and consistent, which has been super helpful in understanding my body when I notice things aren't consistent anymore, right? And that's where digestion, we're really not giving our food timing as much importance as we need to, especially women, especially because of our hormones, right? Like, the whole goal as a woman to keep your hormones balanced and your body feeling like it can tackle everything and not be in full-on fight or flight stress mode is to keep it feeling safe, right? And if we're starving ourselves, we're not safe. Your body literally is then going to hold on to everything that you choose to eat when you're starving yourself or giving yourself these huge gaps in between your eating. And this is not what this episode is about, but I'm going to do a little quick disclaimer blurb on intermittent fasting, because I know there is a bunch out there about this. I have even had a different dietitian on the show to chat with me about it, Jessica Brown. It's an old episode. Go check it out. But really, the take home of that is that for women, intermittent fasting is not ideal because our hormones need a 2 to 4 hour interval between food where we're not eating during that 2 to 4 hour interval, but we are eating by max 4 hours, right? Because if we're stretching it out to 5, 6, 7 hours in between our meals, your body is starting to wonder, is she doing this thing where she doesn't feed me again for a while? Because if that's the case, let's hold on to everything we just consumed. Versus fueling yourself every 2 to 4 hours, your body knowing it has the building blocks to not only keep up with its normal maintenance and normal digestion and cellular processes going on, but it can also help heal. It can help repair now. It can help build and get stronger now. And so it's also going to detox and feel like, we don't need that crap. Let's flush all that out. Let's get rid of that extra sugar. Let's get rid of that extra fat. We don't need it, right? Your body is feeling safe. And there's a lot of things that make our body feel safe. We talk a lot about stress and stuff throughout this podcast, but today we're talking breakfast, and I don't want to get too sidetracked. So we are going to jump in on the breakfast train because this really is so important. And for many women, the way we start our day, it really is either supporting our healing, energy, our hormones, or it's actually setting us up for crashes and craving, more tension, more pain, right? And if we can do better, we can know better if we can do better. So let's know better. So why does breakfast matter? I just talked a little bit about the hormones, right? And a lot of this comes down to your blood sugar regulation. So we're looking at insulin spikes here. And this is where if we have insulin spikes happen too frequently, then our system, it's like a stress on the body, right? And we need to make sure we're keeping our blood sugars level because those spikes and crashes also indicate stress in the body. It's not a safety signal versus this very gradual fluctuation of blood sugar levels where the body can anticipate a drop knowing it's going to have a spike again later that it can manage, right? Because you have it on a rhythm. This keeps everything level. But it's kind of crazy because the studies are even showing that, especially for women with PCOS, and again, PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome is basically a dysregulation of hormones, and it has a big underlying factor of insulin resistance. Also think diabetes, right? When diabetes gets bad enough, we get to an insulin resistant state, and we need to get our hormones in check to help battle PCOS and many other conditions going on in the body. And aside from those insulin spikes, right? The insulin spikes and crashes are what make us physically crash, right? Like we just crash, and you know that feeling when you've eaten something that's kind of sugary or low quality in macronutrients and it flushes through you within 30 minutes, you're starving again, you're maybe irritable, you're hangry, and we can prevent that by keeping that blood sugar more balanced. But the other big benefit of breakfast is that our cortisol as women is already a little higher in the mornings. And if we are skipping breakfast, we are actually increasing the cortisol in our body. It stays elevated longer, which then sends your body into fight or flight and interferes with the production of other reproductive hormones and hunger hormones. And again, that stress can actually lead to belly fat. The abdominal region has more cortisol receptors, and if it's consistently high and being triggered, it encourages fat storage, especially in the midsection. And again, think fight or flight. The body's like, hold on to everything, versus being like, oh, I feel safe. Let's just let it all go. And so we do want to make sure that we aren't skipping breakfast and just grabbing coffee and sugar, because that also does, especially coffee and sugar, right? Coffee increases our cortisol. So if we're missing breakfast, only having coffee, especially if it's sugar and creamer in it like me, again, this is something, I'll be honest, I do eat breakfast every day. But one thing I'm still working on that I just don't know why. I can't switch it around. But we really should be eating something before the coffee, especially if you're like me. And one of the things I will never give up, at least at this point in my life, is my sugary creamer, right? Like I like it. I do try to opt for the ones that don't have high fructose corn syrup and partially hydrogenated oils, but I love my creamy sugar creamer in my coffee. I have to have it. And I don't want anything the moment I wake up except my warm cup of coffee. And then, within 30 minutes of drinking coffee, I'm starving and I want to eat breakfast. And I'm sure my gut and my digestion would be a lot happier, and my bowel urgency would be a lot happier if I ate even just a piece of toast with some peanut butter or something before I had that coffee. I've done it before, and it makes my gut feel a lot better. It's just so hard for me to eat something before. So if you guys have any more tips for that, I would love it, because I've tried some protein coffees. That is probably one of my more favorite things to do to prevent that spike and crash, because if we're just having coffee on an empty stomach, it's not good. It's not good for our digestion and our gut and the acidic pH balance. It's not good for those cortisol levels. It's not good for the insulin spikes. It's not that great, right? So this is something we're all working on together. But otherwise, yes, breakfast is something I am a huge advocate for. I love breakfast. It is a foundation for healing, especially postpartum or with that pelvic floor dysfunction, or when anything is healing, right? When we need those extra building blocks, we need to set up our digestion and our energy for success, because we all wonder why our body hurts, why we don't have the energy to keep up through the day. And this is probably it. If you're just having a little yogurt and calling it good, again, this is where we are failing. So what do we include for our healing breakfast? Because we know that breakfast is important, but what do we need to include? The biggest thing here, guys, and I'm sure you could guess it, is protein, right? We're talking macronutrients that are nutrient dense, and protein is one of those things that really helps to stabilize your blood sugar. It supports that tissue healing. Again, think about all the breakdown that's happening while we're working on our exercises. And when we are in a healing state, we need those extra building blocks to heal and repair. And our hormones. Protein is huge for hormone balance. That energy is also really coming from protein. When we have enough protein, which I also have a whole episode just on protein because that's how important it is, we are looking for 1 gram per ideal body weight of protein a day, which is a lot. So at breakfast, I do want you shooting for like a minimum of 20 to 30 grams. But if you can get like 40 to 50 grams in your breakfast, even better, because that is where that energy is just going to cruise. You're going to feel like by like 4 or 5, like, hey, and obviously, yes, you've had lunch in between because we're not going 4 or 5 hours past a meal time, right? And skipping meals. No, I'm just saying that extra protein is going to make it so that you can make it to lunch, right? And feel good. Then at lunch, you're going to have a good protein in there and you're going to feel good the rest of the day. So protein is huge, but it's not the only big thing. The other really big thing we need is healthy fats. This is where the nervous system support comes in and hormone production. Hormones are really affected with our fat intake. And if we don't have enough healthy fats, this can impair our hormone production. So we want to make sure healthy fats like omega-3s, avocados, this is where nuts and chia seed, flax seed, right? We want those salmon, like fish, right? We want healthy fats. So those can also help sustain you, especially when paired with those carbs. So maybe you don't even have a bunch of protein and you're just like, I just don't want this oatmeal to go right through me, right? Even a little bit of butter, not a bad idea. It's going to help it last longer through your system, but even better, a little scoop of protein or putting some yogurt or Greek yogurt in that. Just again, lots of great healthy fat and protein combos out there. And then the third thing that we really want to make sure we include in our breakfast is fiber. And this usually and can come in the form of complex carbs like whole grains and things like that. But this is also where steady energy comes in, because if you're just having fruit juice or some fruit, that is still, carbs. Carbs are good. I'm not carb shaming here. Never. I'm a huge fan of carbs, but it's which carbs are we taking in, right? And we need to know what they're going to do to our body. There's long form energy and short form. And if we're only doing simple carbs, that's short form. Again, we're going to get the insulin spikes, the energy crashes. But when we pair these complex carbs, these whole grains, with the healthy fats and the protein, this is where the magic happens. It also, the fiber piece really helps with our digestion, which is huge for pelvic floor health. Remember, we need to make sure we're not constipated. There's no straining during bowel movements. And so again, protein, healthy fats, fiber, and then of course, hydration. Water first thing in the morning is something I'm a huge fan of. I might not eat right before coffee, but I'm always drinking water before coffee. This helps get the gut turned on. It helps flush things out in the morning. Great option. Make sure you're having water first thing. But just to give you some examples for breakfast, and we don't need to think too hard about this. Like, this doesn't need to be some fancy quiche thing. We can really go a lot of different ways, and it doesn't even have to be breakfast food. Shit, you could have a sandwich for breakfast, a turkey sandwich, like whatever you are craving that has those 3 nutrient pieces in there, go for it. But eggs and avocado with some veggies, like this is always a good one. You can make like a little scramble with some eggs, with even some salsa. That's where the veggies can come in. I'm from New Mexico, so huge with salsa and chili. Right now it's fall, so it's time to roast the green chili, and it smells amazing out here. It's one of my favorite smells and my favorite foods. I put green chili on everything. Super high in vitamin C, really good for you also, which is a bonus, but I put it on everything, especially eggs. And actually at this point, I'm so spoiled with it that I can't go have eggs without chili. It's kind of a problem. When I go to travel, I'm like, do you have jalapenos or like Cholula, Tabasco, salsa? Like, what spicy thing are we working with here? Because otherwise I can't eat eggs. Ugh. But with that being said, eggs are a good source of protein, but they're actually not amazing. So each egg only has like 6 grams, right? I was surprised when I started looking at nutrient labels, guys. If you're not looking, look. A bagel has 10 grams of protein. Now, yes, that's higher carbs than a protein ratio, but don't forget about that protein, baby. You add that 10 grams onto your 2-egg sandwich and you've got 26 grams of protein right there. Add a slice of cheese, that's another 6 grams. You're getting close to 32. Like, it's not that hard when you're really actually intentionally putting food in your body. The other thing I love is Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is super high in protein. This is one of my easy breakfasts and snacks. When I get to the end of the carton, it's my favorite because I don't even use a bowl. I just put everything in the carton. But you could add nut butter. I even sometimes will add a protein powder into it, but I'm always adding chia seed. Hemp seed is also high in protein. I usually do walnuts and a little drizzle of honey, and it's super yummy. Also oatmeal. So oatmeal, I talked about adding the Greek yogurt. You can also add a nut butter, and also you can add the protein here. It's kind of like the yogurt for me. You can just make it a parfait, whatever you want to do with that. Smoothies are also another great one, especially in the mornings. This is something that sometimes I will combine. I'll do like my protein. Sometimes I'll even put my coffee in there, or when I was doing, protein coffees, that was really yummy. And I would add peanut butter, protein powder, banana, and it was just like a yummy chocolate banana shake. Super good. Lots of options for breakfast out there. And another thing that I love for high protein breakfast, like let's just talk real quick, easy things. And these are frozen section things, right? So again, no shame on convenience because we all have those mornings. So at this point, Kodiak makes some really bomb French toast sticks, and they are high in protein. 4 French toast sticks is like 10 or 12 grams. I do a little maple syrup dip, but sometimes I'll do like a peanut butter Greek yogurt dip. That's also really good with apples, just a little side note, or fruit. For an extra protein dip. But I'll have the French toast sticks, and then I'll also throw some turkey sausages in the air fryer. I put the French toast sticks and the turkey sausages in the air fryer. I'll even have like a little yogurt protein shake next to it. And that's like a 20 to 35 gram breakfast right there. This morning I had protein waffles and I put peanut butter and honey on them and had a glass of milk, right? Like, we don't have to get super creative. There are a lot of easy things out there, and even easy prep things like chia puddings or overnight oats, or you can make, like when I'm on top of it on a Sunday, I will make like an egg bake with all of the veggies that didn't get cooked that week, and I just bake it. I just chop it all up, bake it. I throw in usually chopped turkey sausage as well, Parmesan or cheddar cheese, make it really extra protein packed because remember, eggs aren't that packed. And then you have a quick, easy egg bake that you just slice up and you reheat every morning. And sometimes I'll add that to the bagel, right? So there are a lot of options out there. And Pinterest is another great resource. And definitely, if you have any other questions or want more recipe ideas, reach out and let me know. But just kind of getting into the mistakes we make, right? Again, we talked skipping breakfast, not good. We're not doing that anymore. We talked just coffee with cream and sugar, which does add to that cortisol spike and blood sugar crash. We're going to try to have something before that as well. The other thing is just eating like sugary cereals or pastries, right? You go to Starbucks, you get your coffee and banana bread and call it good. Like, how much refined sugar did you just eat? No protein, no healthy fats, no complex carbs. No wonder you're crashing. No wonder you're gaining weight. No wonder you have ovarian pain. Like, there are a lot of reasons here that we're just ignoring, and we need to know better. So the other thing is just that under eating and then overeating, right? If we under eat in the morning, which this is where a lot of times, like before I switched my work schedule, and I would eat breakfast and then I would come to work and I wouldn't get out of work till 3 and I didn't have lunch. So there was about a 6 to 7 hour window where I wasn't eating, and I was coming home at 3 or 4 starving. I would eat a whole meal's worth of food. Within an hour later, I was snacking. An hour later, I'd snack again, and then I'd have dinner. Like, it wasn't good. I was just binge eating at that point, and it's not smart. So if we can spread those nutrients out throughout the day and even do what research is coming out, especially for PCOS, is reverse eating, or wait, what do they call it? I forget. It's like backwards diet. That's it. It's backwards diet. And it's basically just having a bigger, larger meal in the beginning of the day, and your dinner and your last meal is actually smaller towards bed, which is before you're going to shut down digestion, which isn't a bad idea to try. And think about the shift in your portions throughout the day. But some practical quick tips for you guys, because I know we're busy and it can be hard to fit it in. So again, I mentioned some of the quick frozen food things I do, batching, again, overnight oats, egg muffins, egg casseroles, chia puddings. Those are nice to batch beforehand. Or you can just do like an easy smoothie pack and just do 3 ingredients, like your protein powder, a fruit, and Greek yogurt. Call it good. Smoothies are a really nice quick snack and can be a meal if you're putting enough protein in there. But any protein add-on quick things, right? Like cheese sticks are great. Sometimes I'll even just take sliced meat. Gosh, words today. I'll just take sandwich meat and wrap it around a cheese stick and eat it. Or I'll throw in some turkey sausages and eat that while I'm eating some whole wheat toast with peanut butter in the car on the way here. Protein bars aren't terrible, or yogurt drinks aren't terrible to have on hand. I know Chobani makes like a 30-gram protein drink, which is pretty legit, because when I am really running behind, I didn't have time to eat, I'm on my way to work and I'm like, crap, I can just drink that 30-gram yogurt drink. And because it is a liquid, just like smoothies, it doesn't last as long as whole food, but it's still way better than nothing and usually gets me to lunch, which now with my little guy in school and me having more freedom to create my schedule, I do have a lunch every day. And man, is it amazing to actually fuel yourself every 2 to 4 hours. It has been feeling so good. So breakfast doesn't have to be Instagram worthy. It just needs to be supportive. Check out my Instagram. I do post recipes there at The Balanced Momtality, and I'll probably be making a post about this and have some of my fun breakfast options listed out in a post over there. So make sure you go check it out. But just a quick connection to pelvic floor, because we talk nutrition, but I just want to bring it back, right? Because this is pelvic floor, core, and more. We talked about the nutrition, the breakfast, but just bringing it back of why this is so important. Again, nervous system safety. We know nervous system safety is crucial for everything in the body that is healing, especially our pelvic floor. So we need that stable blood sugar state, which is going to lead to the stable mood, stable energy, and less stress cellularly in the body, which actually causes less pelvic floor tension. You're not clenching, guarding, and holding as much. And proper nutrition is also going to, again, support that healing and that hormone balance and the resilience, okay? It's going to increase that capacity for you as you are taking on other factors that are stressful throughout the day that are out of your control, because you took some of that control back by fueling your body. Healing isn't just about exercises, right? It's about how you fuel and regulate your body. So just make sure we're putting a little intention into breakfast. And remember, the best breakfast is the one that stabilizes, fuels, and supports healing. It's not the quickest. It's not the most delicious, right? So, and it can be. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm also saying don't go grab that chocolate croissant every single morning. Make sure you share this episode with a friend that you know needs a little bit more encouragement around breakfast, and also come over to my Restore program. Remember, we're talking nutrition in addition to the nervous system safety and healing and the exercises that are happening. So make sure that you reach out if you have any questions. All of my contact information is in the show notes below. And as always, thank you so much for listening all the way through. I know I can ramble and get lost on tangents, but it's always fun to chat with you. And share me in your stories at The Balanced Momtality if you like listening to these episodes. It helps inspire me to keep showing up. But I'll see you guys on Monday for another episode on the Pelvic Floor, Core, and More show. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day. I know you've got so many other important things going on, but I hope it was helpful and you leave here with some tools to help you in your healing journey. And I just want to ask you, if you have found this helpful, to please leave a review on iTunes. Scroll down to the bottom of my podcast page and leave that 5-star review so it can help other women see this information. And also, if you want to be a part of my community of amazing women trying to balance all the things, great tips and insight and sharing stories and just motivating each other along the way, feel free to join my Facebook group, The Balanced Momtality, Wellness and Support. I hope to see you here next time on the Balanced Momtality Podcast.